Welcome back, guys. How much time it has passed since the last time? Okay, so getting back to the topic, we are going to study the point 3 of the book in the unit 3, which is the life in medieval cities. Let's see how the life in medieval cities was. You see, this is an ideal image of a medieval city. You can see the city was surrounded by a solid wall of rock, alright, and always with a cathedral and with a main square. And also in some times, not in all the cases, there used to be a castle inside the walls. Alright. Okay, this is an ideal image, but what kind of important buildings used to have a medieval city? First of all, we have to go to the gates of the wall. The wall used to be composed by several gates, but always used to be one, which is the most important. Like in this case, the gates used to be closed in the night so that nobody can go out and get in the city. Another important building is the cathedral. Is the religious building, the most important in the Christian cities. The cathedral was the center of the Christian people and maybe the most important building in all the city. Another important building was the city hall, whenever the council used to be gathered. As you can know, in the previous years, before in the early years, the council of the city used to be gathered in the churches. But when the passing of the years, the mayor and the council decided to create new buildings dedicated to those meetings, to those gatherings. So the city halls were created, like this one you have on this image. Another important building was the hospital. The hospital, which used to be located around a big square, and afterwards the square drives to the hospital, which is this is an example of a building dedicated to hospital. Apart from that, there were another very important buildings, okay, but that of here are the most important. Apart from that, the city has a plain, and in the plain, as you can see in this image, which is an example of a city called Reims, you can see a plain, and this plain was divided into parishes. And what is a parish? It's kind of a district of the city, and some of those parishes were inhabited by not only by Christians but also by Jewish people and by Muslims. Overall in Spain, the city of Toledo in the medieval ages was populated overall by Christians, but there were parishes dedicated to Muslims and to Jewish people. Apart from those neighborhoods or parishes or districts, the rest of the districts, which were Christians, were baptized with the name of saint. Like in this case, you can see this district dedicated to St. Paul's. In specifically, the St. Paul's Cathedral was located in this parish. Alright, inside the city, inside the plain of the city, we have a very important place, which was the main square, mainly dedicated to the market, which was held or celebrated once a week. In this case, you see the main square of Prague, the capital city of República Checa. In a medieval plane, you can also take into consideration and realize that the main cities, or almost the whole streets of each one of the cities in Europe were narrow, so narrow and windy, with so many curves. Like in this case, this is a city in Europe, and you can see the streets are very narrow, not wide, and this is a common fact in the medieval cities. Oh, wait a minute. Alright, but the cities in the medieval ages had a very important problem. This problem was that there wasn't current water, so the cities were unhealthy places because people used to throw rubbish to the streets, and because of the decomposition of the rubbish used to be propagated and spread diseases, and besides that, plagues were created. As you can see, there, the dirty water was thrown by the window by everybody in the city, so it was a dirty place, totally, completely dirty place. So there was not so beautiful in the medieval ages in the cities. But apart from that, one important factor in the cities was the artisans. The most of the citizens in a medieval burg or city were dedicated to artisany, and the artisans used to do several kind of works or tasks. Like in this case, you can see this is a shoer, un tejedor, or in this other case, maybe you can see a man getting sharp the knife. It is sharpening the knife. Un afilador, un acuchillador, etc., etc., etc. But the artisans were divided into 3 stages. The first stage were the apprentices, the people who had to learn from other people who were expertise in the tasks. Then there were the journeymen, people who used to work for the rest of the neighborhood, a journey, a complete day, were the workers indeed, the journeymen. And then the masters were those artisans who used to teach the apprentices and the journeymen. So there were 3 categories for the artisans. As you can see, the artisans used to compose the calling guilds. And what is an artisan guild? Is what we call un gremio de artesanos. Un gremio de artesanos used to be, an artisan guild used to be a neighborhood of the same kind of artisans. I don't know, shoemakers, I don't know, platters, sharpers, or I don't know, farmers, or maybe bakers, or any kind of job. So that means that the neighborhoods used to be inhabited or populated by shoemakers. The other neighborhood used to be made up by bakers, or etc., etc., etc. ¿Qué significa? Que cada barrio tenía un gremio de artesanos. Un gremio de artesanos dedicado a zapateros, otro gremio de artesanos dedicado a plateros, otro a panaderos, otro a carniceros, whatever. You know, each neighborhood had its own guild of artisans. one of the most famous was the Shoemakers Guild. Everybody used to use shoes, so shoemakers had more work than the other guilds, and used to be the most famous guild in all the cities in the medieval ages. Okay, more or less, in a nutshell, this is the way how it was the live in the medieval cities. So now you have to take into account the next day I'm going to ask to you about this video, and we're going to work out the topic I've been talking about. So see you next day. Goodbye.